Welcome to everybody to this first big members meeting. We had a very small in-person meeting at the UNGA in New York in September. From Partners in Health, we feel strongly that the advocacy for GPI needs to be embedded in a stronger, broader agenda for economic justice that includes tax justice and debt justice.
What really struck me about the spring meetings in so many different conversations is that there is really a need for something like GPI. Really, so much. The pace of change is not fast enough. And it really is about this issue of scale. And I think that's what GPI brings to the table.
We need to move from an ad hoc approach to funding things we care about to a structured approach to funding things we care about. We need coordination and size to some extent to achieve the change that we want.
There is generally buy-in on the GPI principle. So there's a lot of advocacy that can be done around the principles. So working on a plan for how we advocate around the principles.
I was invited to the first G20 Health Experts meeting in India in January, and I have been able to speak at that meeting on the GPI principles. The focus is on global funds and institutions that are clearly addressing cross-border issues, global issues that are affecting all countries. Pandemic preparedness and response, R&D, climate change, and also to some extent social protection.
My work is mainly on the impacts of climate change in poor communities in poor countries in Asia and Africa. It is about responsibility and about solidarity. And the principle behind the fund is all countries are responsible, and therefore all countries need to be putting something in, and all countries are going to be affected, and hence all countries may legitimately be eligible for receiving funds.
There seems to be keen interest on having a proof of concept within the continent. So they already allowed regional public investment. We very much are trying not to reinvent the wheel, but try to see how we could use the principles to reform or inform the formation of some of these initiatives that are ongoing in the continent.
For the support to the land participation in UN, we have been holding meetings with authorities responsible for international cooperation in Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, and Panama. We are currently working on funding new funds to continue to prepare co-creation GPI. For example, resources are needed to work more with civil society and local governments.
It's still too early to say whether countries like Indonesia or even Indonesia per se have the interest to embed a GPI principle in the state budget. However, this is also an opportunity to generate the demand.
We've been sort of collaborating on GPI since the beginning. In 2022, we've really centered GPI into our organizational work, and in our new organizational strategy, we have GPI as one of our 9 key advocacy impact areas.
Civicus has been involved in the process of ideating GPI and bringing it into reality. And what we contributed to specifically was during the consultation process, running some sessions with our alliance members. It would be important to have national or local partners mobilizing to socialize the concept of GPI and the spirit of GPI with diverse groups and communities in their context.
We have to enter in the consciousness of the movements that are actually working on the financing for development agenda and are the recognized actors on it.
If there's any opportunity right now in New York about financing, we should be there. And it would be great if we could have GPI in a box kind of narrative that we could all share out. One of the things that I'm hearing from the global south is that change has to come from them. It's that no longer can it be led by partners. So there is a hunger for leadership.
I think we've moved past, is there a need for GPI? The need is clear and evident. The question then becomes, as you said, how to make it a reality. What are the opportunities or the challenges that we can turn into opportunities as we kind of plot through 2023 and 2024?
What I've lacked so far is something firm and tangible to hang on to in terms of what we can do, all those kinds of things, to give people practical things to do to support the work of the network and to be active as network members.
approach. GPI ecosystem is large, it connects with a lot of initiatives. This is why we need coordination. It's why we need a public, legitimate, and representative platform to keep us engaging in the right ways and to be able to push forward. Short term, we've heard about let's get GPI in key processes, in funds, in discussions. The medium term is about positioning GPI in the wider discussion leading up to 2030 and a post-2030, ideally, financing settlement. And the longer term, of course, is continuing to fight for the GPI principles. There's nothing more important than building this network. This is the place, in short, where an alternative to the inefficient and unrepresentative aid system is being built.